So drag and drop your raw file onto Photoshop and boom, it's just going to open in Camera Raw because it is a raw file. This is a quick Photoshop Camera Raw tutorial to get you quickly started editing photos using Camera Raw. First, make sure you have a raw image to work with. If you don't know what that is, it's an image file format that contains minimally processed data from your camera sensor, which gives you more dynamic range and color space to work with in post. If you haven't already, make sure your camera is set to take raw photos or both raw and JPEGs if you want both. I often have both because I don't want to edit everything. But if you want to edit raw files, you need a raw file to work with. Yeah, make sure you have one of those. And then the Camera Raw editor will be your friend. It's made to edit raw foil. Raw foil. It's made to edit raw files. So I want to make this quick, brief, and simple. I don't want to go into everything. I just want to make sure that you can get your photo on here and make it better than it already is, or maybe it's a great photo. Maybe you don't need to do any editing, but generally that's not the case. And as you can see, this one has some issues. So I'm only going to use light, color, effects, and I'm going to use a brush tool. So I'm going to start with color, and by color, white balance. Maybe I'll find something white or have 50% gray there and try and just click it, use the sample tool, and try and make it automatically get the right white balance. But that generally doesn't help me because usually there's not always going to be something that's the right 50% gray that you need in order to get the perfect white balance. And even so, it might not even be perfect anyways. It's all about the eyes. So I usually just slide the sliders back and forth until it seems right to my eye. And I'm okay with this. Maybe it's not okay, but for my eye right now, it is okay. Next, I'll hit the light. I'm going to drop the highlights all the way down, and you can see the clouds are back. You want to see the before and after? You can always just hit P, and then P again, and you can see how it's already drastically changed. Let's continue. Now let's crank the shadows. This is all global effects. This is affecting everything that you can see here. These are all global effects. I will start with this, and then I'll go to more refined areas using the brush tool. Now let's bring on the blacks a bit. I'm getting somewhere. Now let's hit the effects. These are nice. Add a little bit of dehaze, a bit of mid-tone contrasts and clarity here, and a little bit of texture. Okay, not bad. So I'm kind of done with this, these global effects like I was talking about. Now let's go over here. Let's get a brush. That's a brush. And now I have a layer where I can effectively draw a brush on here and then only affect those areas using said sliders. So in order to make the brush bigger, I can either hold right click and go back and forth while it's held down and make it bigger and larger. And you can also use the sliders over here and make them bigger and larger. Also change the feather, the flow, and the density. You may want to do that if you don't want to have such a harsh brush. But I'm just going to max it out right now because I kind of want a harsh brush. I want this area to be bright, more bright. I know it's triangular. It's triangular right now. I know it's a fountain. It is the main thing. You can see it. It's the first thing you're going to see, but I want to make sure that it is the first thing you're going to see. So I'm going to make it more bright. So let's bring the exposure up. There we go. So this is even more bright now. And because of that, I want to add, here, create a new mask. And I want a brush. That'll give me another layer to work with. And I'll pick over here. I'm going to draw over here on these trees and make them less bright. So again, I'm trying to focus the audience onto the fountain, which I don't think is too hard to do, and it's pretty much the most massive thing in this image. But that's pretty much it. Like, that was a simple edit that I was just showing you how to do, and I've done from that to that with a few sliders and a brush tool and Photoshop. And I hope that helped you to understand that if you have a raw file, you can bring back a lot of detail from underexposed images or overexposed images. Obviously, try to shoot as well as you can. Try to get your exposures as best you can, but still, raw files are going to give you so much more leverage to use. And Camera Raw in Photoshop is one of my best friends. So hope you got something from that. And then if you want to open as a smart object. That's what I would recommend. Open as an object, so that if you want to go back and tweak it again in Photoshop Camera Raw, you can. All right, that's it. That was a quick tutorial, and I hope you got something from it. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your day.